Did you guys know that Alphamon isn't the only way to play Black X Antibody in this format? You guys probably forgot that there's an entire separate Digivolution line that focuses on DeathXmon and its Dex version, along with DeathXmon as well. And that is what our main focus is for today. Just before we get started with the video, I got something really cool to share with all of you guys. If you haven't watched our newest Battle of series with Mario, then be sure to check that out as well. In our latest Battle of X Records series, you will get to see me play the Alphamon X Antibody deck, putting it in action, and playing against Mario's Red X Antibody Omnimon deck. Come watch the epic clash of the Royal Knights to find out who comes out on top. Links will be left in the description box down below or the iCard on the top right here. So there's actually one more thing, and Mario has something that is really important to tell you guys. So pay close attention.
You know what's really absurd? The fact that only around 50% of you are subscribed to my channel. Like, why? Why?
You know what's even more absurd? 70% of you guys who are watching right now are not even subscribed to my channel. You tell them, Mario.
Do you guys not know what the subscribe button is? You should consider reading a book so you know what the subscribe button looks like and just click it. Okay?
Yeah! Click it!
Hello Digimon players and fans, welcome back to another Digimon Deck Profile and in-depth building guide video. I'm super excited to share this one with all of you because I've been working it for quite a bit some time ever since BT9 came out. We all know that how strong DeathXmon is, with its super powerful generic effect to control and wipe boards. But hard slamming it while hoping that your opponent has lots of Digimon and Tamers on their side isn't the only way to play this card. What if I told you there's another method where you can straight up play this card for free, and from your trash as well? In case you guys didn't notice yet, DexDorugoramon can actually do that, which is pretty insane. This deck is so underrated and not even talked about in the format, so that I decided to come up with my very own version that focuses on the full Dorugoramon line instead. I even brought this deck to my locals and went undefeated and finished first place as well. Well, the secret lies within this particular card, DeathX Digivolution, which lets me Digivolve from trash where my opponents never saw it coming. The main idea and win condition of this deck is to get into your Dorugoramon as soon as possible, and he will deal loads of damage. You can then control the board very well by having it delete smaller things while you can attack. And then you would deal with the bigger Digimon by going into DexDorugoramon afterwards once they have nothing else on their board other than their big stacks. DexDorugoramon exerts so much pressure simply because it brings out DeathXmon for free as soon as it is deleted. And of course, you have to meet its conditions, but it's just super easy to get there. I'll explain the combo in more detail and how to play this deck once we get to the segment, so definitely stick around for that. Achieving the game plan is very crucial, which is why a generic consistent build is also very important to synchronize and help us to get there. So let's just get started with the deck profile first. Starting with our Digi-Egg cards like we always do, we have the 4 copies of the Doraemon, still the best egg for this Digivolution lines, simply because when you add something underneath the source, you get to draw 1 card. Being able to draw is really good, and we don't really need attack power as much because this deck and the top end itself has a lot of attack power generally. Now let's talk about our rookies with our Doremons. We got 4 copies of the BT7 Doremon, and then we also have 4 copies of the newest BT9 Doremon. BT7 helps you search, grabbing your coda, grabbing X Antibody, also one of the best Doremons because you can gain a memory when you slide something underneath. That's X Antibody for the sources. And then the Doremon on this other hand for BT9, on play, trashing 1 card with X Antibody and its traits, you get to draw 2, which is really good because you do want to be trashing some very specific cards to help you set up for your later combos during the game. Then to round up for our rookie count, we have 4 Tsunorizamons. Tsunorizamon is just super good with security +1 inheritable. As long as your Digimon is 13,000 DP or more, we're always getting there. It's very easy to fulfill the requirement. It's also really nice that we can get piercing for our black Digimon if it has 13,000 or more DP. And yeah, that's really it with Tsunorizamon. Now let's showcase you guys our level 4s. We have 4 copies of the Dorugoramon from BT7, and then we also have another 4 copies of the Dex version, DexDorugoramon from BT9. It makes total sense just to play both because always Dorugoramon has an inheritable of extra 1000 DP. It is a blocker as well, which is really good. DexDoruga is to go into Doruga for free. We can gain our memory back when Digivolving by trashing 1 card from my hand, also giving blocker plus retaliation to make those even stronger combo plays to make a really powerful top end when we do go that far. And then to round off our level 4s, we do have the 2 Grumblemons, which is a hybrid for game. We do really need 2 copies. We want to see it often enough because it is part of our OTK combo, which is really crucial. For our level 5s, it is very simple. We have the Dorugoramons where we have 4 copies, as well as the other 4 copies of DexDorugoramon, which combos and synergizes really greatly. Dorugoramon giving us built-in protection from deletion effects as well as DP reduction, but once again, we mainly play it for its inheritable to give us extra damage with security +1. DexDorugoramon once again comboing very nicely with Dorugoramon because we can digivolve it for 1, but trashing a card from our hand, then gaining memory back basically means we're digivolving it for free. And then we also get to pop level 4s, which is always really nice and good to have. Now as we showcase our level 6s, let's feature the first boss Digimon of the deck inside his build, where we have the 3 copies of Dorugoramon. Your turn, for each X Antibody you have in its traits of the sources, you gain extra 1000 DP. This is your big powerhouse Digimon. It has so much DP and it goes so beyond, and basically it will swing over anything within, as long as you have X Antibodies in your stack. Not only that, the other thing what he can do is when attacking, he can add more sources in and to delete up to 2 of your opponent's Digimon with play cost equal or less to the amount of sources you have, which is super strong thanks to the addition of DexDorugoramon as well as DexDorugoramon. Building a much bigger stack for Dorugoramon is so much easier, and you can pop even bigger things very quickly. This is why it is so good. And once again, itself being able to add more sources just really helps benefit you, giving you the best value with all your inheritables with the stack, with the Doraemon egg to draw 1 as well as Doraemon to gain more memory back to make even more plays. Next, we have the Dex version of Dorugoramon, DexDorugoramon. This is like the evil virus version where it can digivolve for 2 on top of a Dorugoramon. When digivolving, if you have Dorugoramon or if it's digivolved from trash, you delete all your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level. Since it's a big stack meta, there's a lot of times that your opponent will only have their big stack left, and you being able to digivolve into this pops their big stack immediately. Not only that, it has an on deletion effect. You can play 1 purple or black level 3 Digimon card from your trash without paying memory costs. However, if you have 5 cards with Dex or DeathX in their names in your trash, you can play a DeathXmon from your trash without paying any memory costs instead. And this is why this card is extremely good. This is like the bonus extra for your top end, which really pressures your opponent and making them think twice, and it's very difficult for them to deal with, because if they do try to get rid of your stack with DexDorugoramon, they're going to be potentially be in threat with DeathXmon. DeathXmon, we have 3 copies here. This card is incredibly insane. You guys know how powerful this card really is. This card itself is like a generic staple that can be splashed into any other decks, which is really good. However, being able to play this card and synergizing with the actual archetype and Digivolution line just makes this card even better. And what's even better, playing DeathXmon for free. When on play, when digivolving, you get to de-digivolve 1 across your entire opponent's board and then delete everything that's level 4 or lower. And then end of your opponent's turn, they delete all their Digimon with the lowest play cost as well. This is a really nice card now, because being able to have 2 ways to access this card, whether you can hard play it when your opponent has a lot of stuff on their board for reducing its cost, or you can still play it for free with DexDorugoramon, is really the best ideal you always have. You always want to be trashing this card from your hand so that you can set up for DexDorugoramon when you do have it. And yeah, DeathXmon's super strong. That's why everyone plays it. That's it for all of our Digimon. Let's talk about Tamers. I have 3 Kodas and 3 Cool Boys. I sometimes thought I could play 2 Kodas and 4 Cool Boys, but 3 and 3 right now just works out very nicely for me, because I do want to have my memory set to 3 as often as I can. We do need the quotas because having more quotas means more access into Grumblemons. Grumblemon, once again, is very important. And then also on play, allowing us to search. Both these guys can search, and then Cool Boy can gain memory, draw 1 when we do Digivolve on top of the Dexes, which is always very nice. One of the best cards in the game currently, of course. Now that's it for all the Tamers. Since we're talking about searching and gaining memory, Black Memory Boost is the way to go as well. Most of the cards in this deck base is black anyways, so the cards that we want to look for are black Digimon, and being able to search, gain memory, delay, always really fantastic. Now last but not least, to round off for all of our options, we have the one unique option that this deck plays, which is Death X Digivolution. This card is just super insane, and it's just super crazy because it's one of the most unique things, and that makes this deck really, really interesting. So first and foremost is that if you have a Digimon with X Antibody as traits, you can play this card without meeting the color requirements. Main, you can Digivolve one of your Digimon into a Digimon card with Dex or DeathX in its name from your trash by paying its memory cost. Now, this is the exact reason why trashing our Dex related cards and setting it up is really why this option then comes in very nicely to help us out. And often enough, my opponents has underestimated that I have the opportunity to actually Digivolve from trash, and then they overextend, and then I punish them with this option card, and then they'd be very surprised, and it's just super cool and super funny, but also just a really important card to have in this deck. So now we got the 50 card main deck completed. Let's talk about some other additions that I thought about adding these cards in while doing so. The first card is actually really interesting. You can actually add one Alphamon Oryuken as an extra level 7. I will actually swap one of these out for one of the DeathXmons. Being able to go into Alphamon Oryuken lets you delete all your opponent's Digimon with the highest play cost, which is also very nice to even further control the board and be super strong itself. And although we don't have the Alphamon and Oryuken combo, we can still Digivolve this simply on top of our Dorugoramons, and then use its end of turn effect to return a bunch of cards back into the bottom of our deck to gain the memory back as well to retain our turn. However, there's not a whole lot of spots. I do really like DeathXmon generally more than Oryuken, so this is why I don't play it. Now, moving along to the other topic where we talk about some of the weaknesses of this deck. As consistent as it really is, there's not a whole lot of defensive options and defensive cards that we play. So therefore, you might want to consider some really nice defensive related cards where we first and foremost would have a Chikurimon. Bomb from Security is just absolutely fantastic. Stopping all the OTK meta in this format is just really great. Second to that will also be Ultimate Flare, very similar reason. Having it come out Security is one of the best things ever. Then we also have a Metal Impulse, the signature move of DexDorugoramon. Metal Impulse lets us trash up to 3 cards from our hand, and we can Digivolve 1 for each we trash on our opponent's Digimon, which is really good. And then we also delete one of our opponent's level 4 Digimon. This is really good against wider boards in general, but also Digivolving is just a very, very good mechanic that not all decks can really have good protection against in general in this current format. We also got one soul digitalization. This is also pretty good. It's also like a removal. We also get to review and search and Digivolve, which is pretty cool, but also we get to trash at the same time, which actually helps benefit this deck quite a little bit for 5 costs, and that's another really decent consideration I have. Next, if you want to be aggressive but also defensive at the same time, Final Zubogon Punch is definitely really good. We easily go up to 13,000 DP, so fulfilling the 16,000 threshold is not a problem at all. Reboot Blocker Security +1. This card definitely sure takes me back because it reminds me of the BT7 days when you do play the Dorugoramon along with 4 copies of Final Zubogon Punch. Is just absolutely wild. And being able to pull that combo off is actually really cool still. Last but not least, we do have X Antibody option. I would say generally this is a nice sort of bonus add-on, not highly necessarily compared to most other X Antibody decks. This deck just functions so well on its own and does without this X Antibody option, I think, and this is the reason why I don't run it, but you guys can definitely give it a try and let me know how it goes as well. Now that we covered all the cards that we want to talk about, let's showcase you guys of a very basic how to play guide and sort of like a combos and so on. So early stages of the game, like most X Antibody decks, you're basically trying to play your Kodas, your Cool Boys as much as you can, play your Dorumons so that you can search and draw. And while you're trying to search with the Dorumon, you always want to grab your X Antibody pieces, of course, for your Digivolution. For the Dorumon that trashes 1 card to draw 2, you ideally want to be trashing your DexDorugoramons or your DexDorugorays, anything that's your Dex, into your trash to help you set up, because don't worry, you get access back to these cards later, which is why it's really, really good. Now, a really important note to keep in mind when you're trashing is that Dorumon trashing's effect cannot trash DeathXmon, because Dorumon specifically does say X Antibody, and DeathXmon is actually not an X Antibody, it is an unanalyzable X program. However, this is why you want to reserve your DeathXmons from in your hand to be trashed via the DexDorugoramon and the DexDorugoramons instead, because both these Dex type of Digimon lets you trash any card with Dex or DeathX in its name as well, aside from X Antibody. Now, while we're trying to build our stack, we're right here hatching our Dorumon. We want to Digivolve in Tsunarizumon. If not, another Dorumon is totally fine as well. Growing as we go into Dorugamon if we can. This is sort of when you want to decide that if it's important for you to be Digivolving your DexDorugoramon in raising, or you want to push it out and then Digivolve there. If you're going to push it out and Digivolve there, that means you're ready to go for the big combo plays to go all the way from here all the way to your level 6. And that's only the situation where you want to be, because that will give it the blocker retaliation. If not, ideally, most of the cases, just to be safe, I like to Digivolve here in the raising. Now, while you're building your stack, what you really want to also be doing with your rookies here is actually try to chip and swing into security. You want to set your opponent's security down to 3 to do that combo. This deck doesn't have an OTK combo, but it has a big blowout combo for go for the win there. So you want to swing with your Dorumons. If they get deleted, that's totally fine. Swing with this one. Really, ideally, is to set your opponent's security level down to 3, because then this comes into this finishing combo, which is really crucial. If you're ready to go, you push your DexDorugoramon out. You want to go into your Doru Gray. Your opponent's going to start you at 3. You're going to put something in. It doesn't really matter what it is. Let's just say you get to slide in a Dorumon so they can gain a memory and draw 1 card, which is going to be really nice. And then as well, then you want to go into your DexDorugoramon, whether you have it in your hand, fantastic. If not, you can Digivolve it with DeathX here as well. Let's just say we Digivolve it with DeathX so that we're showcasing that we're utilizing our trash. So we'll Digivolve here. We still have to pay the cost though, just so you guys know. So we have to pay the 1 cost here. And then we can also use our Cool Boy to gain that memory back and draw 1 first, and then discard something from our hand. Let's just say we discard another one of these guys to gain another memory, and then to delete something that's level 4 lowered. Right now our stack has full protection, which is really great. Then we go here down to 2. Because we have 5 memory, we go down to 2 into a Dorugoramon right here. Dorugoramon is going to be at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Plus 6,000, that's 17, and then also the alterns of Dorugamon, so that's 18,000 DP in total, and you're gonna just swing in with this guy for 3 checks right there, and the rest of the 3 of their security. At this moment, you can also still add something more with Dorugoramon. If your opponents actually have 4 security instead, if you have a Dorugoramon, slide another one in. That's 4 checks. You're swinging into 4 checks with built-in protection for this turn, which is why it's so good. And at this moment, you're going to realize you're most likely going to have 2 memory left. You swing out all your opponent's security, and then you go grumble for game right here. Super simple combo, big stack with Dorugoramon. Now, let's showcase you guys sort of the other combo if you don't have enough memory to sort of play around and you want to control the board more. Let's just say that your Dex Dorugoramon is ready here, set up. You can also still play DeathX Digivolution to go into it, to pop more stuff and control the board. You know, if you're behind and your opponent's pressuring you, then going into this is great, especially if you have a DeathXmon and the Digivolution in your trash. You can continue to swing aggressively with DexDorugoramon until they address it. They're going to want to address the stack eventually. However, if they do address it, get rid of it somehow and delete it, your DeathXmon comes out. DeathXmon comes out and controls the board even further and makes it more annoying for your opponent. If not, if they're going to be too afraid to try to stop you, then sometimes, which is also really cool, is if you have DeathXmon on your hand, you can just Digivolve it on top right here. You can Digivolve it on top of DexDorugoramon, or even just Dorugoramon straight up for a 6 cost. And then you get to de-Digivolve your opponent's board, which is really nice, and basically stop them from there as well. So there's a lot of versatility with your top and final play, and this is how you overall want to be playing this deck, is to get into your Dorugoramon and then control the board with your level 7s if you need to. If not, you swing aggressively in and then use your Grumble, or if you have a rookie on the side, to go for a game. That will conclude for my very own deck building strategy and in-depth guide for the DexDorugoramon Deck Profile. If you guys enjoyed the video and found it helpful, please give it a like. If you have any suggestions, recommendations, or questions, be sure to share it with everyone in the comments down below. Overall, the playstyle of this deck is actually very simple to learn. You want to get into your Dorugoramon as soon as possible and just start swinging. Don't let your opponent make any comebacks by going into your DexDorugoramons and threaten with DeathXmon in your trash. This makes it difficult for them to play, as they don't want to have their board wiped out by potentially having to deal with your DexDorugoramon at the same time. With the combination of Tsunorizumon and Dorugramon inheritables, you can wipe out their security and set up for game win very quickly. So that wraps up for our video and guide for today, and like always, there's lots of BT9 deck profiles coming up real soon, so be sure to hit that subscribe button right now, turn on that notification bell to stay tuned. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you in the next video. This is Avault, signing